Hi guys, it's Ben here, just jumping in at the start of this podcast to let you know that the music you're about to hear is Window by Wyatt Lane. You can download this song from soundcloud.com/Wyatt Lane Music. I'll put a link in the episode notes. Now on with the podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Before we start, I do just want to say, the other day at work, I went and got a coffee, and JB was with me because we were working in the office, and we had a conversation with the lady who was handing us the coffee, and because we were talking about WandaVision, and the lady said, "Oh, it must be a boy thing because my husband loves WandaVision," and we were like, "Well, yeah, but we're nerdy," and JB said, "Oh, we do a nerds chatting podcast and stuff," and she said, "Well, I'm a nerd too." We were like, all right, weird. She was like, yeah, well, I like D&D, but I don't like all that Marvel stuff. And I was like, how can you like D&D but not like Marvel? And like, do they not? Is it not?
Well, I'm gonna just slightly say that I like Marvel, but I've never played D&D, so I don't know. I mean, I've watched the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons, which I just assume the board game is exactly the same.
You've got one of the You've got one of the most vivid imaginations of all the people I know. I think you would love Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, of course I would. Of course I would, but I'm not going to let myself in for it because I'll just end up being dressed up as a dungeon master for like all through life, just walking around.
You'd be an elf class 50 with
I'd grow my hair really long and grey and then fold it along the top, just look like a right player.
So anyway, we're the Nerds Chatting, and we chat about all things nerdy, movies, TV shows, and comic books. I am Nate, and with me this evening are my two very good friends, as always, Ben and JB. Good evening. How are you doing, chaps?
Good evening, Nathan. I'm fine. How are you? How are you, JB?
I'm not too bad. I'm a little bit excited. I'm getting myself more excited for this podcast the longer we're going on. For 6 minutes ago, I was like, oh, we've got to do a podcast. But now I'm feeling an injection of adrenaline. I'm ready to pop because I am on a learning experience on this podcast, and I'm looking forward to that.
You absolutely are. So we're going to get to a piece of Broekn News later, which is going to kind of explain and the reason for the topic for today. And so the topic is going to be, what is Invincible? But before we do that, we're gonna flip things on their head, and we're gonna start with a bit of nerd scene.
Nerd scene.
Ben, this is where you put in the nerd scene sound effects. The thing.
Nerd scene. Is that what it is? How does it go?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, cool. Just to say, I hate that we're doing nerd scene first. I know it's fine because the Broekn News sets up the topic this week, but for my foibles, I absolutely hate it. Like literally, I want to peel my skin off right now. I just go,
Ben, is that because you don't understand what nerd scene is?
I don't understand what nerd scene is, Nathan. But I don't believe it can be explained.
No, well, I'll try. Let me try. I don't think I've tried for a little while, so I feel like I'm rusty. So maybe that's why it won't come across as well as it could. But it's a play on words. So we're nerds, right? And it's a play on the word scene, and we spell it SCENE, which is kind of like part of a TV show or a play or a film. It's like a scene. Do you know what I mean? Like a section of it, right? But it's also the topic is where we talk about things that we've watched, and another word for watched is seen, spelled SEEN. So smashing it together, it's like a play on words, and it's nerd scene. Do you get it? Do you get it? I'm rusty, I know, but
when you've got a play on words, is that like a playground?
Yeah, it's a playground on words. Yeah.
Just
to be clear, the doctor has turned to look at me in absolute disgust beside me.
I wanted to look at the expressions on Ben and James's faces to see if they were hearing you all day long.
Can you hear that?
Yes, I heard that. I understand all the words you're saying, Nathan, but I don't understand what NerdScene is. I'm sorry. You'll have to try again next time.
I'll try it next time. Let's just crack on and talk about some stuff we've watched and seen and stuff. So I've got two, and I'm going to rattle them really quickly. I started reading a book called Neuromancer, which came out in the 80s, and it's by an author called William Gibson. And the reason I started reading that is because the Doctor is playing Cyberpunk 2077. And it's obviously all cyberpunk. And before that, I was reading a couple of sci-fi books, and I was realizing that the trilogies that we'd done last year, when we were talking about like dystopians, and also weirdly when we picked a movie for each of us to watch, almost all of those movies, all those 6 movies, had like a cyberpunk like flavor to them, and so I kind of felt in the mood for it, and I felt like I wanted to get into some of the sort of OG cyberpunk, and Neuromancer is one of the William Gibson's meant to be sort of the father of cyberpunk. It's for people who don't know what cyberpunk is, and I'm surprised if you don't, but it's like it's a genre of sci-fi that's about like neon lights and dystopia, and the stark differences between the people on the ground and the people in the skyscrapers, and think Blade Runner, think Johnny Mnemonic, all those sorts of things. Johnny Mnemonic is terrible, but I really do love it. I mean, it's terrible, but I love it. And funnily enough, it's actually based on a book by William Gibson. So I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying the story. I'm finding the writing style difficult. But I would still recommend it to people. Apparently it's book 1 in a trilogy, but I think I will just read this one because I've got a whole stack of other books to read. But yeah, Neuromancer by William Gibson. Ben,
where's that book that I bought you for your birthday a couple of years back on your reading pile? Was it any closer to the top, or is it getting further down?
It's in the bag just behind me, just down there.
Oh,
still
cool.
in the wrapping.
Yeah.
The problem with that book, Ben, is that it's like 800 pages long and it's fantasy. And at the same time as reading all these other books, I'm also reading the Wheel of Time series, which are each 900 or 1,000 page books. So I read them before I go to bed. So what I normally do is have something very different to that to read in my reading time, as opposed to my bedtime reading. Do you know what I mean? So if I was reading a 900 page fantasy book and then went to bed to relax and had a fantasy book that's 900 pages long, I would find it very jarring. So I'm it's on the list. I promise you.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. That's fine.
Right. Okay. So second one of this of NerdScene, I started watching the new episode 1 of the new series of Superman and Lois. Full disclosure, I watched 40 minutes of the first hour of the first episode. The reason I stopped was the doctor came home. I cleared it with her first that I could watch it without her, just to make sure that she didn't want to watch it. She said, yeah, crack on. I watched 40 minutes of it. She walked in the door and I said, this is really good. I want you to watch it with me. So I stopped and to let her watch it. It's great. Boys, it's great. I am loving it.
How great? I mean, on a scale.
Yeah, go on.
Go on. No, you go on. Go on.
He's wonderful in it. They've Spider-Man'd him. He's struggling being a superhero and home life, and people are having illnesses and things, and he's having trouble at work, and he's still got to look after his 2 kids, and all these different places he's torn to. It looks beautiful. He is fantastic. The lady playing Lois is fantastic. The kids I thought would be horrible. They're great. It's great. JB.
So I've seen the trailer. I've seen 2 trailers for this now. Has in the 40? Have you watched all of the episode now?
No, just 40 minutes. Okay.
Have you seen the trailers?
Yes. Yeah.
So you know that. So Ben, have you seen the trailers? Are we allowed to talk about it or not?
Yeah, I've seen the trailers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously his kids don't know he's Superman. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
He's obviously hang on a minute. I'll just take my glasses off. Woohoo!
Oh my God.
Difference. Do his kids have any superpowers? Do we know that?
You need to watch the episode.
Oh my. Okay, fine. But I'm going to have to say, it looks interesting. I mean, Superman with home life. I mean, good God. I can already see, I think you can see from the trailer, like, Dad, you were never around, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, well, I'm Superman. We know what Superman looks like. You can't be Superman. Then he takes the glasses off. I mean, good God. Does he keep the glasses on all the time? Does he sleep with his glasses on? I mean, come on. I mean, there's holes here everywhere, but if it's enjoyment I'm looking for, then I might watch it.
What it was I mean, it was surprising in the first instance. So this is a contender for next year's Nerdies of the most surprising thing, because
Wow.
it's CW, it's Greg Berlanti, so it's Flowerverse, it's Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, all those sorts of things, which we all know start strong and then very quickly like get really disappointing, really by the numbers, and that might happen. But this first episode, like I remember watching the first episode of Krypton, and I said to you guys, like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. And then I didn't go back to it at all. This show I will watch every single week without doubt. Like I thought it was. Go on.
How many episodes, young man?
No idea whatsoever. But I'll lap it all up. Like the fact that it is a well-written, good-looking, like high production value Superman TV show. We haven't had this since the 90s, and even then, questionable. So I'm so on board for this. I know we're in nerd scene still, but like I really loved the 40 minutes I watched. The opening itself, the first 10 minutes, is heartwarming and heartbreaking. Beautiful show. Really, really recommend it.
Okay.
You may have sold it to me, Nathan, that I'll give the first episode a go.
Okay. Okay. It's on streaming services near you.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, who has been watching Schitt's Creek?
So that's me. And JB, if you're after something fun and light and enjoyable, may I recommend to you my first nerd scene, Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
I will read out to you the synopsis, see if this pulls you in. The wealthy Rose family, video store magnate Johnny, played by Eugene Levy, his wife and former soap opera actress Moira, played by Catherine O'Hara, who is the mum from Home Alone and Home Alone 2, you know, Kevin, that one. And their pampered adult children, David, played by Dan Levy, who's Eugene Levy's son in real life, and Alexis, played by Annie Murphy, lose their fortune after being defrauded by their business manager. They rebuild their lives with their sole remaining asset, a small town named Schitt's Creek, which Johnny bought for David as a joke birthday gift in 1991. The Roses relocate to Schitt's Creek, moving into 2 adjacent rooms in a rundown motel. While the family adjust to their new lives, their well-to-do attitudes come into conflict with the more provincial residents of Schitt's Creek, including Mayor Roland Schitt, his wife Jocelyn, the motel's manager Stevie, town council-elects Ronnie and Bob, and Jazzagle member and Cafe Tropical waitress Twyla Sands. It's a fish out of water, posh people go to sort of run downtown, and shenanigans happen. However, it is absolutely hilarious. It is so good. It's unbelievable. Now, don't get me wrong. This started like 5 years ago. I'm so late to the party on this. It's unbelievable. But we got recommended it by a friend. We tried it. We watched the first we watched like 2 episodes of the first season. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. And then it just sort of goes from there. So the first season of a comedy show, and it's only like 13 episodes, and each episode is like 20 minutes long or something like that. So it's not terribly taxing. But mostly the first episode of a season, it comes in sort of mid-level when they're finding their feet, and you know what characters have surprising chemistry with other ones. Okay, let's team them up more and let's give them things to do. And the season just gets better and better and better as it goes along. We've just got on to season 2, and I think it's only 5 seasons and it's all complete, all finished. And it's like I said, 13 episodes a season. And it's great. It's really good. It's really good. Switch your brain off. Look at some posh people struggling around sort of salt of the earth American people. And it's brilliant. Really good fun. Go ahead, Nathan.
I've seen it on in the background in this house. Is it a little bit Good Place? A little bit like The Good Place in terms of tone and comedy?
There's no supernatural elements to it.
No, but in terms of like the sort of like gags, if you like, the sort of the funny element to it.
I guess, but they can actually swear, and they do every now and then. but it's
Yeah.
very, very good. There's the chap, the adult son David gives an analogy of where he is on the is he gay, is he straight, is he somewhere in the middle, and the analogy has to be heard to be believed. It is so good the way he describes himself that it's just like, I completely get that. Oh my god, am I that? It's so good. It's so good. It's
I watched a beautiful clip of Joe Lycett the other day doing stand up talking about that, and he was saying like he wouldn't define himself. He was like, he defines himself as pansexual because it's like people's like aura and attitudes. And like he was saying, like he was in like the post office and some old lady like screamed at like this stupid girl being like really annoying, and he was like, oh, I'm quite attracted to this old lady right now, you know. And it's like I quite like that expression of like, you know, because Joe is he is for all intents and purposes gay, but like he's saying that's not necessarily the way I am, you know. And I just thought it was really lovely.
Well, I won't give it away, but the analogy goes, and I'm ad-libbing here, and I'm going to butcher it, but the analogy goes something like this. Someone asked David, I drink red wine exclusively, and I thought that you drank red wine exclusively. And he says, well, I drink red wine and I drink white wine, and sometimes I drink rosé. And one time I drank red wine from someone who used to be white wine, and that got a bit confused. And it was just like, oh my god, this is so good! It's unbelievable. It's so good.
That's great.
It's honestly, it's great fun. Schitt's Creek. Everyone, all 12 people listening to this have probably already watched it, but if they haven't, give it a go. It's great fun. It's on Netflix, so yeah, it's easy to find. Good fun. Schitt's Creek.
Cool. What's your next one up on here?
The next one I read, I got this from my son, my eldest son, for Christmas. It's a graphic novel by Brian Lee O'Malley of
Scott Pilgrim fame.
Scott Pilgrim, that's right. Thank you, Nathan. Scott Pilgrim fame. He wrote and drew the Scott Pilgrim comic books, and it's called Seconds. And the premise is that a girl, a sort of mid-20s woman living above her own restaurant that she runs, and it's really successful, but she's trying to move away from it to create her new restaurant. Her life is sort of not going as she wants it to, and through some sort of weird supernatural shenanigans, she gets given the option to right her wrongs by writing down what went wrong, consuming a mushroom, going to sleep, and when she wakes up, the problem that she wrote down has been fixed. So obviously she abuses this, and it leads to far-reaching, universal sort of world-changing events. It's brilliant. It's like 350 pages long, and I smashed through it in like 2 days. It was so good, and it's the typical Brian Lee O'Malley sort of writing. So if you've seen the Scott Pilgrim film, just imagine a woman that owns a restaurant in that same universe, basically existing. It's just that. It's so well done.
Brian Lee O'Malley's art is one of the things that really stands out for me. It's one of those really surprising things. And I got it also with I don't know if you guys remember me ages ago talking about an author called Sarah Glidden, who wrote about the how to learn everything about Israel in 60 days or something like that. I think it's called.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
and it's really simplistic art. I think Brian Lee O'Malley's, when you first look at it, you think it's really simplistic, like it's really what you'd call cartoony, you know, kids cartoon. But actually, if you just pause a second on each frame, you can see that the care and attention that's gone into every single line conveys emotion. Like the angle of the mouth, or the angle of the eyes, or the positioning of the pupils, like it's almost scientific to the amount that it's conveying emotion. But when you first glance at it, it looks like just a kid's cartoon.
Yes,
and I think that's
absolutely.
really clever. And I think that's the same with Sarah as well, Sarah Glidden as well. Work. But I remember having read Scott Pilgrim, all of Scott Pilgrim, and thinking, oh, I want to consume more Brian Lee O'Malley. And I think Seconds was due out, but not out when I finished it.
Oh, Nathan, I might have to let you borrow it. I think you'll really enjoy it. I really do think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, I might have to make my way to you at some point to get you that. Just to say, the colorist on it is Nathan Fairbairn, who did a lot of coloring for the Invincible comic book.
Oh, what
See
a
what I
name.
did there? See what I did there?
Mate, you've done
Yes,
something pretty good there.
A
Well, look
sir.
at that. Nice.
Anyway,
Am
That's
I right
my-
in saying?
Oh,
Yeah,
go
am I
on.
right? Am I right in saying the next one on the list is James's?
Yes, I believe it is. Is it me?
Yeah.
I've
doing Broekn
seen
News?
this. I've seen this.
Okay, so I'm going to do it in reverse order. So on the recommendation of a certain person on this podcast,
It was
there
me.
you met.
It was me. It was
It
me.
was, and he's normally wrong. But in this case, he was thoroughly right. And I did watch Palm Springs. I did watch it on Valentine's Day, which was Sunday, with my wife, and we absolutely loved it. Absolutely
High
loved it.
five.
It's one of,
I just want to high
one of-
five you, JB.
I would say it's one of the best films I've seen in a very, 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 very long time. It might even be in some. I mean, I need to think about it, but I enjoyed it so much I might put it in my top 5.
Isn't it great? Isn't it?
Yes, it is great.
It is absolutely fantastic. It's just the premise of the Groundhog Day and giving up hope and just thinking, well, I know what's going to happen. I can just live with this and I can get up to anything that I want to do. And then all of a sudden meeting somebody who actually you've already met many, many times and slept with because you lied to them. And then
Spoilers for Palm Springs, but yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
And then they've got this get up and go, and I just love it. I loved it. I loved the whole of the film. I just how it all started out, then how people come into the realization. I just loved it. Just loved it. Couldn't recommend it anymore. Right at the top.
I'm so happy, JB. I'm so happy A, that you watched it, and B, that you loved it. And Ben, you did the same, did you?
Yeah, Claire and I watched it on Valentine's Day as well, and
Oh,
yeah, it was chef's kiss. Yeah, it was brilliant. Really, really good.
I'm
Just
so pleased. So
yeah.
I could
pleased.
easily watch it again. I could easily watch it again quite quickly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I love about it as well? Do you know what I really like about it? I love the fact that she works it out.
Oh yeah.
She works it out. She studies for, well, you know,
Who knows?
who knows how
Quantum
long.
physics. It's Quantum Leap, isn't it? She was talking
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Sam Beckett. That's all it was.
She studies for a long time, years and years and years to figure out or to gain the knowledge to figure out what is going on, and then tests her theory, proves that it worked, and then fixes it. It's just so good. It's so good.
I thought it was really interesting considering the situation we've been in for the last 12 months.
Mm.
And I don't think it was written with this in mind.
Oh no.
But being trapped in a scenario that you don't want to be in, that you cannot escape, and it's monotonous, and it's soul destroying, and it's lonely, and you just want to destroy yourself. I mean, how much more of a commentary on the last 12 months can you get?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty on the
Yeah.
nose, isn't it?
Do you know what? Yeah, I do agree with everything you said there. But Adam Sandler's sort of character has just sort of decided to live his
Sandberg.
life
Andy
as
Sandberg.
Yeah. What did I say?
Adam
Adam.
Sandberg.
Adam Sandler. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. He decided to live his life though. He's taken everything that he can do and he's still living it and trying to
Yeah.
change it. And he's obviously gone to the end of his brain power and realization of how to get out of this. And things like that. But there is definitely massive correlations with
Yeah.
the world that we've been living in and the mundaneness of not being able to go out and do things. But interestingly, what I quite like about it as well is that he remembers. So he's learned, because he doesn't know how long, he can't remember how long he's been in this loop, that he still remembers all the pain, like when he's being tortured and things like this, and being on the operating table if you try to kill yourself and get out of it, and the pain that you're in, because you remember all of that pain.
Yeah.
So it's quite numbing. So you are quite right. Yeah. Okay. I've gone on long enough, haven't I?
What's the next one you got?
So I watched Framing Britney Spears as well.
Yes,
Which-
me too.
which is really, really interesting, fantastically interesting. I mean, it's fundamentally about the conservatorship. Is that right?
Yes,
Is it-
yeah,
something
that
like
word
that?
that I struggle with as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the
this
fact that
weird
they
American law.
yeah,
basically.
weird American law, but they say it so many times in documentaries. Like, do you know anyone that would just keep on repeating themselves and say the same word all the time, Nate? No, exactly right. But it's I like the way that have you seen it, Ben, or not?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I like the way it starts off of talking to someone, telling you about Britney, and then they like you have to go back in time and you show where she started from, and then everything that came through, and you just forget how long she's been in the industry and the things that have happened and things that she's done, and
But the
everything
fame
else.
she had as well, like
Like,
I
it's-
forgot the level that it went to. Like she was
yeah.
superstar.
Absolutely, and didn't have any sort of. It felt like protection, and if she was doing work good, it was great. And then if something happened, this wholesome girl was then to say, "Oh, I have had sex" or something. It's like absolute outrage, and that was just so unfair. And
Yeah.
being in the media's eyes and just having a photographer on you all the time and being judged and everything else like that, and it's savage, and that like the whole sort of hashtag Free Britney movement as well. Nate.
Well, just what you said, that JB is just like the concept of mental health and mental illness just wasn't even a thing then.
Mhm.
If you saw someone today having the struggles that she was having
Mhm.
then, I genuinely think there would be an outpouring of like love and affection and caring and worry. But at the time, the media was just savage to her,
Yeah.
just ripped her to shreds.
Yeah, it's like the Justin Timberlake situation where like
Yeah.
and all of that, and he came out smelling of roses.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously with the Janet Jackson episode in the Super Bowl as well. Like he came out of that smelling of roses. I mean, he's apologized now. Well, whatever. But I think the most interesting bit about it was the podcast that was monitoring Britney's Instagram, and then they started kind of like recognizing that she was kind of in some ways asking for help and like subliminal messages through her Instagram. So yeah, it was really, really interesting and eye-opening, and man, just it's that American law that I can't say is really peculiar, especially for the way you're implementing it for a person who's still quite young, and you're now taking over all of her assets and everything else like that.
And she seems completely,
Compos mentis.
yeah, it's cognizant. Is that the right word? I don't know. She
Yeah.
seems with it. She seems like she completely is grasping it. I agree, JB. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this documentary.
Yeah.
I was going. A friend of mine was talking about it and suggested it, and we sat down and watched it. And I thought, well, we'll just give it a go. It's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
See what it's like. And like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, this is gripping. I think it might be part of a series. I think Framing is a series. I think they did Framing
really?
John. I think they did Framing John DeLorean. The car manufacturing company, because he was caught up in all sorts of like embezzlement and drug dealing and all sorts of things. John DeLorean.
Okay.
So, I excuse me. I think it might be a I think it might be a little bit like sort of the American Crime Story anthology series where they take a documentary and they focus on a particular very famous person.
Sure.
So I'd be very interested to see what comes next. In fact, I would like to see the John DeLorean one as well.
Yeah,
Ben.
Yeah, just to say that there's some. I think since the documentary aired, there's been some news on the conservatorship that Britney Spears is under. Apparently, there's some judges ruled that her father must share it with someone else because she wanted him out of the picture.
Oh, okay.
So I think
Is it the bank? Is it the bank?
I don't know, possibly. Yeah,
Right.
possibly. But I have to say, I agree with everything you guys have said. I found the documentary quite heartbreaking, actually, and I didn't realize it was in 1999 that Britney Spears' first song came out, that hit me baby one more time, and you know, you couldn't move for hearing that song back then, and I can't believe that was 22 years ago, you know. And it's such a shame what's happened to her, but I think this documentary is going to do her nothing but good. And the fact that she supports it, she supports the Free Britney hashtag through her sort of weird not weird, but her Instagram posts that are never
Cryptic.
really sort of saying one thing or another,
Yeah.
but you can read an awful lot into either of them. I have to say though, I actually found myself feeling quite guilty myself, because I've probably had thoughts about Britney Spears in the past where I've thought, oh God, you know, what a terrible, you know, what a terrible person. And then when you see it all stacked up like that, you realize what that person has actually gone through is just devastating. And
Yeah, it's almost not about her. It's about the media. I think what the documentary for me, the takeaway was like, step back. As a person, step back and go like, what are they saying here? What has this person actually done? Why are we watching this? Why is this Schadenfreude? You guys know about Schadenfreude? It's a German word that means like pleasure through someone else's pain. Like, why are we enjoying this? Like, what is the thing that's triggering?
That's what the media did. They experienced the absolute quintessential Schadenfreude about Britney Spears, and they just shone a spotlight on her misery and her pain, and she went through all of that in the media spotlight. And you know, I mean, to go through what she went through is devastating on itself. To go through what she went through and have the media having it on the front page or as the lead story of on the morning news or what have you, it's just, it doesn't. I just can't even comprehend. I can't even imagine what she went through or what she's going through still. But yeah,
great shout, JV. That was a good call.
Cool.
What else you got on this there?
Final one is, and I watched it this week, is Don't Fuck with Cats, Hunting an Internet Killer on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for a very, very long time. Lots of people have said, oh, you should watch this. It's quite good. And I kind of was like, okay. So I did watch it. So what is it about? There's a dude on the internet, and he basically videos himself killing two cats.
I'm out.
There is absolute outrage through people seeing this, and basically there's a crowdsourced type of amateur investigation trying to find out about this person who they basically identify as Luca Magnotta. And it culminates in him murdering an international Chinese student on the internet again. It's absolutely savage, absolutely crazy. Interesting documentary, and I would kind of recommend it, but Nate won't watch it.
I've seen it, JB, and it is a fascinating documentary. What is it, like 3 parts or something like that?
Yeah,
maybe
it's only 3.
Yeah.
It's only 3.
It's another one of those internet sleuth documentaries that I would put it alongside, not in the same category, but alongside of I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and something else I'm trying to think of right now. Oh, this one about this Cecil Hotel. I haven't actually seen it myself, but that's another one where you've got these internet sleuths trying to figure out what happened to this poor girl who went missing and then was found in that hotel. It's crazy, but what starts as a snuff film of this guy murdering animals, and you know, don't get me wrong, the guy that's like his first step to doing something more extreme. But that guy knew what he was doing. That guy was editing his own videos and pictures that he was putting online to remove any sort of trace of his location. He is a very devious, very dangerous person. And it culminated in him murdering what was it, a Chinese exchange student, I think, or something like that, JB, wasn't it? And you know, and he was found because internet sleuths saw what he did, and they were like, we're going to find this guy, and they found him. It was incredible, and it was all done through the internet. No one met. No one sort of met up and said, okay, well, let's compare notes and let's talk to the FBI and let's talk to the local police and yada, yada, yada. It was all done through the internet. And it's such a good program. It really is good. If you can get over the fact of, I don't think you actually see anything, do you? I think it's all sort of fuzzed out and you don't really hear anything. But if you can get past that horrible thing that he murders cats and films it and posts it online, if you can get past that, it's a really good sort of detective program.
Yeah, and what they actually realise is that he is acting out elements of the film Basic Instinct, and the characters are in there, and how he killed the Chinese student with the ice pick and everything else like that. So yeah, and it was kind of it is bloody interesting. Really interesting.
He also knew that people were looking for him, and he would fuck with them.
Yep. He was creating internet sites and about him and commenting on himself, and he put his face on other people's pictures to show that he had been jet setting across the world. I mean, he was an interesting individual, very interesting individual.
That's one way of putting it, JB.
Yeah.
I'm glad you both liked it, and I'm glad that it's good. But I absolutely know I will never watch that. Like it's so in the wheelhouse of, it would make me feel too icky. I don't think I'd be able to sleep. That sort of thing. Do you know, I know that sort of any sort of animal harming or injury alluded to or overt is too much for me. It's too much.
If you're an animal lover, it might not be your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Well, that was quite a robust and quite a positive bit of nerd scene. Should we move on to the next section of the show?
Yes.
Broken News.
Ben, this is where you put broken news in. You put in the sound effect. You know the theme.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
I know what I'm about, son. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is broken news. This is news that's so old it's not breaking. It's already broken. We're going to give our opinion on it. We're going to rattle through this because some of this stuff is just interesting, of note, but not necessarily much going on. Firstly, they've cast Supergirl. I think that's fantastic news. It means that we're actually going to get a Supergirl movie. Couldn't give a damn who they've cast because I don't know who the person is. Because it's always going to be an unknown. I hope she's great. But her name, the lady's name is Sasha. Now I'm going to butcher this. Callie.
I would say Callie.
It's spelled Calle. Call. Who knows how you pronounce it? But Sasha. Good for you, Sasha. And she's going to be playing Supergirl in a DCEU or whatever the DC movie universe is like. It's called. So yeah.
Is it going to be in the? She's going to be in the Flash film, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So the Flash film is shaping up to be DC's Civil War. So what I mean by that is not that there will be a Civil War, but you know how Civil War was actually a Captain America movie,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they had all the Avengers and new Avengers. So they had Black Panther and Spider-Man, and Ant-Man came in it and became big. Spoilers for that movie, right? So the Flash is becoming that movie where all the people are in it, but also new stuff's in it, and stuff will spin out of it. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to do Flashpoint, which is where he travels through time and universes and different multiverses. So yeah, that's pretty great. And also, if you think about it, that's how Wonder Woman came about. Wonder Woman was cast as a very small part in a Batman vs Superman movie, and then has gone on to have massive fame and massive success in her own 2 movies. JB.
Question: why do the TV actors who play characters on the TV shows then not take their character to the movies? So what I mean by that, is there a reason for that?
They're different universes.
So I'm just thinking about Flash, and you know, so why wasn't the character, the actor that was playing Barry Allen in the TV show, not playing it in the movie?
Different
Well,
Earths, JB.
different Earths.
Earths.
Also,
Oh.
Ezra Miller
Miller, that's right. Yeah.
was in The Flash. He appeared in the crossover event, and him and Grant Gustin spoke.
Oh.
And that's
Oh.
how he gets the name Flash. So the Ezra Miller character didn't have the name Flash, and he met the Grant Gustin character who was called Flash, and he said, "You're the Flash." And he said, "Oh,
Oh.
that's what you call me." So it's different Earths, so they're different people.
Oh, fine. That's great. Just wanted to check.
Yeah. So
I
I think that's
wonder
interesting.
if this actress has been cast and Supergirl is suddenly in this film because suddenly Cyborg is not in the Flash movie because Warner Brothers and the actor have fallen out quite massively.
Yeah, but let's see how long that lasts after the Justice League Snyder Cut comes out and everyone loves him.
Cool.
True.
He should probably move.
Nice. Next bit of news, we got trolled by the people starring in Spider-Man 3 this week. Zendaya released the Spider-Man 3 title. It was Spider-Man Home Slice. And then it's Life is Aloha, but it's the guy that plays
It's the guy in the chair. It's the guy in the chair.
No, not the guy in the chair. What's his name? Ned. He released the title, which was Spider-Man Home Wrecker. And then Tom Holland released the title of the third movie, and it was called Spider-Man Phone Home. So we were being trolled by all the actors in this movie. And just before we started recording, I don't know if you guys saw, but they actually have released the title of the movie.
Have they?
Yeah, and it's called No Way Home. No, that's not. I've butchered that. Ben, help me.
I don't think you have. I think that was it. Let's have a look here and just go to IMDb. Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, there you go.
So obviously it's the home theme because Homecoming and then Far From Home and now it's No Way Home. For me, this 100% means, because we know there's going to be multiverse stuff, he's going to be trapped in the Spider-Verse, can't get home, and that's how we're going to get Andrew Garfield. That's how we're going to get Tobey Maguire. That's how we're going to get
Alfred Molina as Dr.
Tobey Maguire?
Octopus.
No, I'm thinking of Spider-Verse Spider-Man. Gosh, what is his name?
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales. Oh my god, I have total blank there. My brain just stopped. But yeah, that's how we're going to get that crossover. I think there'll be an animated section to this movie. It's going to be stuck in the multiverse and can't get home. That is for me. That's absolutely going to be title. What are your thoughts?
Takes Spider-Man out of the MCU and puts him in his own place.
Yeah. So do we think we're losing him from the MCU?
I think probably yes, we are. Yeah, which is a shame.
I don't know. Really, isn't it making a lot of money for everyone?
Yeah.
Yes. However, Sony are going, well, this guy's really popular, so everyone likes him, so we can build our own franchise and universe around him. This is Sony's Robert Downey Jr. They can build their own franchise out of Tom Holland's Spider-Man and make it massive and make 15 Spider-Man films of him and then kill him.
We had this controversy, didn't we? At the end of the second one, there was this: will they, won't they carry on being in the MCU? And there was, Tom Holland spoke to Bob Iger and blah blah blah, and you just feel like it's all a bit sort of nonsense to drum up some Spider-Man, news stories. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Hey, it's good that we've got a title and it's coming out this Christmas. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The last two have been really, really good. I mean, like, weirdly, arguably two of the best MCU movies. Really surprising movies that sort of came out of nowhere that I didn't think were going to be good, because previous to that we'd had Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I was not expecting much. And then suddenly we had these two really excellent movies. Even the sequel, Far From Home, which I thought was going to be incredibly weak, was really fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah.
So,
Right,
can we move on to the next news story?
Yeah, why not?
Right, this is going to mean nothing to you guys. Although I want to drum up a little bit of the hype train. Choo choo. That's the little hype train. It's a little hype train for you guys. The Wheel of Time TV show is coming. So the Wheel of Time is a fantasy a book series written by a guy called Robert Jordan, and they were finished by a chap called Brandon Sanderson. Like hugely influential to the fantasy world, and they are making a TV show. Amazon is making a TV show of it, and they are pouring all of their money into it. So what they've done is, right, they've got all their money into a big pile, and they've cut it in half, and the left-hand side they're pouring deeply into a Lord of the Rings TV show, and the other half on the right-hand side they're pouring really deeply into a Wheel of Time TV show.
Right.
And the Wheel of Time TV show has released this is maybe the second or third very, very, very short teaser. It's like, I don't know, 10 seconds long. And it reveals a very, very key point in the storyline. There's a dagger that gets picked up at one point in a mysterious place. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. And we see the dagger with the ruby hilt. And I just wanted to just wanted to push your buttons. You two. It's not even about the listeners right now. It's you two. I'm pushing the buttons of. That I want you to watch this series, and I want you to love this series.
Okay.
Ben's grimace face.
Is it like
Okay.
The Witcher?
No.
Okay, fine. I won't like it then.
All I'm going to say to you is that, Nathan, when it comes to these fantasy shows, you are 1 for 3 with me. Okay.
Ooh.
So you recommended Game of Thrones.
I did.
I love Game of Thrones. I even love, to a certain degree, the last 2 ropey seasons of Game of Thrones in my own way. But Game of Thrones, you take the whole thing, it's brilliant. I love Game of Thrones. Read the books, great. The Witcher, I just couldn't get on with The Witcher.
Yeah, but you're the only person on the planet.
The only person in the world.
The only person. Everyone else thinks it's fantastic, and everyone else is madly in love with Henry Cavill. Like everyone. I'm as straight as they come, right? But I will lick him. I will lick his chest quite happily.
I will fight you to do that.
Okay.
I agree with you on that respect, but I just found the program to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Crap. Anyway, the other one that you both were swearing and recommending to me was going to be great, was the one with, what's her name? X-23. And it was on BBC around Christmas time. His Dark Materials. God, what a load of crap! I watched like 3 episodes of that. I was like, in the bin, get out. It was.
You're
rubbish.
also wrong about that, but you're also wrong about that. So
that's fine.
Have you watched the second series yet, Nate?
No, it's on our to do. I think we're going to mainline it when we get some time. We're going to watch the whole thing.
It's interesting to me, Nathan, that you didn't instantly watch it the second it was on. Maybe it's not as good as you say. Anyway,
loads of other stuff, mate. Loads of other stuff. Too many.
My concern is that this is going to be another dud. However,
no, I think it's going to be huge. I think they're pouring so much money into it. I think it's going to be huge.
I gave The Witcher a go, and I gave his Dark Materials a go, so I'll give this a go, but I am not holding my breath. There you go.
Oh, okay.
James, do you have an opinion on this at all?
No, not yet, because the trailer has been like I've only seen the one trailer, so I'm not sure at the moment. So
they're really, really holding back. There's no proper trailer yet. I think when the proper trailer lands, I think it will be quite massive on the internet, because I think the fans of Wheel of Time are huge and rabid, like gigantic, genetically altered rats.
Right, Rosamund Pike's in it.
She is. She's one of the main characters. She plays Moraine, the Aes Sedai.
Doesn't matter.
How do you pronounce it?
I'll watch anything that she's in.
Aes Sedai. They're the magic weavers of this world, and only women can channel the magic. Very interesting.
Okay.
Right. So Next news story is the Mortal Kombat new movie trailer came out. I don't want to hang on this too long because I thought it looked rubbish. What do you guys think?
I concur.
I really hope that people that liked the trailer are looking forward to the film. It's not for me.
No,
It's not for me.
no.
I would have loved this when I was a 20-year-old. I'm
This is-
43 almost now, so nah, not
This
for me.
has got a couple of years on ITV2 on Sunday night about 8 p.m. Oh, that's on. I might watch that because I've got bugger all else to do with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
it'll be
So much
it'll
like
be
the
this
90s movies,
JB.
isn't it?
It'll be this movie, or it will be Hot Fuzz, or
Yes.
it will be what's the film with Hugh Jackman with the long hair and he fights werewolves and Draculas.
Van Helsing.
Van
Yes.
Helsing.
Yeah.
These three films will alternate on ITV2, being on
Will
a
do.
Sunday night at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. It will do. Absolutely correct. Absolutely spot on.
Like I get what the trailer's doing. It's like, Mortal Kombat. Here's Mortal Kombat, but it's just oof.
If they made a Mortal Kombat film before,
They have in the 90s, and it was so enjoyable, and yet at the same time so bad. I mean, oh god, really just, oh my god, like grimacing bad. Like you watch it, you just think, oh, that makes me feel bad inside.
okay. It looks pretty brutal though. The trailer. It wasn't. There was no like within the first 5-6 seconds, someone had lost his arms.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like the kill
Yeah.
scenes in Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah.
that's
I
what
mean,
they're trying to do, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. Finish him. Get over here.
Yeah. But this is not going to break the mold, as far as I'm concerned, with video games being turned into movies. There hasn't been a good one, as far as I can tell.
If Jean-Claude Van
just-
Damme can't sell Street Fighter, no one can sell anything.
Oh, what a classic / worse than Mortal Kombat. Now, the last bit of news we got in here is it's a really interesting bit of news. And I wonder if we could drag this into into a wider conversation. Maybe we can. There was a trailer released this week for a TV show. Ben, have you heard of this before? It's a small thing.
I've heard of this before. Yes, I've heard of it before.
So it was the much looked forward to Invincible TV show trailer.
I'm nothing like my dad. I want to be just like you.
I've fought to keep this planet safe. Your power's got to be due any day now, son.
I'm scared, Dad. What if I can't do this?
Follow me. Slow down. Land. I said land. Stop! Get up.
I'm actually getting used to this a little.
That's not good.
We need to be better. After everything he's done, how can I live up to all that?
You need to decide what kind of hero you want to be.
That was you in the blue and the yellow. Why don't you meet the team after school?
May we count on you in the future?
Yeah, I think so. And bored of this.
Son, we need to talk. What I'm about to tell you will change everything.
Dad. I wasn't ready before. Now I am.
What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what is Invincible, spinning out of this trailer, because JB, I've read all 144 issues. Ben, you've read all 144 issues. JB, you are vaguely aware of what Invincible is, but not really. And we kind of are forcing it on you in a sort of
Be careful.
quasi yeah, hang on, wait. We're forcing it on you in a way that you're happy about it.
Yes, I am. Just put it all on me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you are Henry Cavill's chest, and I am licking you.
Yeah.
With
Oh.
Invincible. Wait. Yeah, we went there. Oh God. Oh, he's showing us our chest. It's just. Good trailer, right?
It was a fantastic trailer, although I wonder if it showed a little bit too much. JB.
JB.
Okay, so as you've mentioned there, I am a complete virgin to Invincible. I don't really know anything about it. The only thing that I know about it is that as soon as Ben knew that this was going to be a TV show, he, without taking breath, said, "JB, you need to watch this." And now I look at his face now, and I can feel how passionate he is about it. And because of that passion, I'm thinking to myself, I am going to watch it. So I know absolutely nothing apart from the trailer in terms of what I believe the trailer told me in the story. And I haven't looked up on the internet to go, oh, there's these Easter eggs and this is what this meant. I've not done that at all. I in fact 20 minutes before we started doing the pod, I've watched the trailer again. So it should be fresh in my mind. And I thought it was a brilliant trailer.
I think what's really nice is the style of it. It's
Yeah.
very much American anime. It's taking anime of sort of 90s, turning it into a very modern style. Ben, I would say this trailer covers the first 2 or 3 issues of the comic, not a lot more, and then there's a few bits that are sort of dotted in from maybe the first 12 issues, something like that, right?
Shall we, for anyone listening who's seen the picture of this podcast and gone, oh, I wonder what that is, shall we read out what the premise of Invincible is? Now, what I want to do here is I don't want to go into spoilers, Nathan, because it'll ruin it for JB.
Careful. Yes,
it'll ruin it for anyone
yeah.
listening. And hang on, JB, hang on a second, hang on. Invincible is the sort of show, it's going to be the sort of show that you 100% don't want spoilt for you. Because if it is spoilt for you, you won't get from it what you deserve from it. And what you deserve from it is to have your brain ripped out of your head, blended, and then shoved back up through your nose. It is so unbelievably good. It is unbelievable. I just can't describe it. Go ahead, Nate.
I think we should get into that, but I just want to just give context for why I think you think that and why I agree with you. Is that what it does is it takes all of the tropes, stereotypes, and sort of known approaches to superhero storytelling, and it says, but what if it didn't do that? And I think there's quite a lot of times where it goes like, oh, okay, well, this is Spider-Man. Well, this is Superman. Well, this is some teen drama. This is, he's going to overcome this, or he's going to overcome that, or, he's going to get with this person, or these people are going to do this to this person. There are setups throughout the series that you go, I recognize this from the movies I've seen, the comics I've read, the books I've read, the TV shows I've watched, those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. And then that setup then pulls the rug from underneath you, and you go, "Oh, right, oh, okay, you've gone in that direction." And you don't go, "Oh, you've gone in that direction. That's dumb." You go in that direction. Huh? That feels much more realistic. That feels like that would happen. Okay. And I think that's why it's considered like the best superhero comic book ever made, because it takes that premise that so many people have tried, where they go, oh, superheroes, but what if the real world? And what it does is it says superheroes, but what if the real world in terms of logic, not in terms of physics? It's what if the real world, but physics didn't matter, because you can have a man that flies, and you can have people that are from space, and you can have people that generate matter from nothing, like Wanda does in WandaVision, but it follows the logic of our world. Like, I really need to go to the loo sometimes, and other times I really have to eat, and at other times I get really bored with things, and at other times I'm really interested in just sitting and reading, and other times I have like social interactions, and other times I have to go to work. That, but superheroes. And I think that's what's really interesting about it for me. Ben, do you want to start on premise without spoilers?
Yes,
JB,
I'm
do
reading.
you have, JB, jump in and have questions whenever you've got them.
Fine.
Yeah. Please do, please do. So I'm reading this from imagecomics.fandom.com, and it's the Invincible wiki. All right, and I'm just gonna read it out, but I will skip over anything that is a spoiler. I don't think it is. I think this has been pretty good. So the origin: Mark Grayson was born to Nolan Grayson, a Viltrumite male, and Debbie Grayson, a human female. When Mark was 7 years old, his dad told him that he was an alien from a different planet and the superhero known as Omni Man. Mark was told that the Viltrumites were virtually a race of peaceful supermen. Mark learned that his father had come to Earth to protect it, and that one day Mark would develop superpowers like Nolan. Every single day he waited for his powers to develop. One day in his senior year of high school, it's America, so he's like 17 or probably almost 18, when working at his part-time job at Burger Mart, he sent a trash bag, or a bin bag if you live in the UK, flying through the sky. Nolan eventually had his friend Art make a superhero costume for Mark, but Mark needed to choose a name first. After protecting a classmate from being bullied, he was sent to the principal's office, who commended him, but warned him that he isn't invincible or anything. Mark liked the name and used it for his superhero identity. Now, straight off the bat, we know from the trailer that that is different in the show, because in the show, you see it in like the first teaser trailer. Mark and his dad are playing catch, and they're throwing this baseball around the circumference of the globe, and it's coming back. And at the time, Nolan, who is Mark's dad, has a conversation with him and says, you know, some kids your age, they think they're invincible, and it holds them back, and it does this, but you really are invincible. And I think that's where he gets the idea to call himself Invincible. So that's different to the comic book. And I like that. And I do think that this show is going to be different to the comic in the same way that the Walking Dead show is different to the comic. Maybe not quite as much as the Walking Dead show, because in that there are whole new characters and there are whole new arcs given to different characters and things like that. But I think this show is going to, for the most part, faithfully follow the comic pretty much all the way through, with the odd little change here and there. I will say, actually, Nate, I didn't bring this up in NerdScene, but I'm actually rereading the whole comic because I got the hardcovers, and some of the language is dated, very dated.
His friend at college, is that the sort of stuff you're talking about?
Yes, there is a chap called William who finds out some information and asks Mark to take him flying, and Mark says, and this shows you how dated the comic book is at the start, man, this is so gay. And that's just like, well, that wouldn't be said now, because it's not really okay now. I mean, it wasn't okay then, but it's definitely not okay now. So I do think that things like that are going to be written out. Now, not to spoil anything, but that gets addressed at a later point in the comic book, where that saying those words are actually addressed, and it's very, very, very well handled. But the comic book grew as time went on. Nathan,
I've got two things. Firstly, I want to read out the cast list, and then secondly, JB, I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this.
Okay.
The cast list. Let me just read this list to you. This is how much it's Amazon, isn't it? This is how much Amazon have put into this. Stephen Yeun, J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Seth Rogen, Zazie Beetz, Mark Hamill, Walter Goggins, Jason Mantzoukas, Mae Whitman, Max Burkholder, Chris, I don't know how to pronounce your surname, Michael Dorn, Grey Giffen, Gillian Jacobs, Zachary Quinto. Like, this is a huge show.
Massive. This by the way that you guys are talking about it, it could put Amazon Prime back on the map in terms of streaming. You know, I would say that Netflix just seems to be cracking out good stuff left, right, and center. You know, all the time. Disney Plus. You know, Kev's listen to me. got some shit on the get out there, doing all the stuff that he needed to do, and I'm really pleased for him. Now Amazon have listened and looked, and now they're doing the same. And honestly, it could get people to get Prime membership and just get their Fire Sticks and just start watching it.
It feels like they've had things sort of get on the boil for a while, like the Wheel of Time, like the Lord of the Rings that's going to be coming out the next year or so, both those, like this. Like there's some stuff that's kind of like you're absolutely right. Cult following. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like there's there's been a gap for a little while in Amazon where you feel like, oh, there's a few things. Maybe I think Palm Springs was released on Amazon, but you're right. Like they are about to hit hard with these big shows, and this is one of them. Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, do you have any like preconceptions? Do you kind of think like what have we sold to you? Like, what do you think it's going to be?
So I think what Ben has just sort of read out is pretty much the first probably 30-40 minute of the trailer. I mean, it opens with his father battling an alien, looking like basically, oh, that's Superman. That's what I thought. Oh, that's Superman. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he's got his boy, and like Ben was saying there, he's looking for his powers, or he doesn't know how to control his powers. Then all of a sudden he starts getting it, and he's flying. He can't stop himself, crashes into the ground, and sort of like, oh, I'm kind of getting used to it. And his dad's like, you need to stop doing that now. And then there's a whole group that he meets, like an Avengers type
exactly
ensemble, which looks quite interesting. I don't know if they're human, if they're all human, or no, sorry, well, like normal looking humans. Am I trying to say that? Humanoids. That's what I'm looking for. Humanoids. And so this is what, a minute 20 in, and I'm already like, I'm frothing a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is like, oh my God, what's that down my chin? Oh my God, I'm dribbling. And seriously, I mean, I watched it. I've watched it 2 or 3 times now, and I could watch it more.
Well, you love anime as well, right? Like, so for you, it's
but then it takes cool. And then it takes like a brutal twist. I think it's almost like, and I don't know if there's some time traveling going on, or whether he comes back in time and he's not ready for something, because you see him battling someone who hits him with a very big thing, and it looks like he explodes. And then he's like, towards the end, it's like, I wasn't ready, but now I am, and I've come back to save you, and things like this. So there's me blurting out probably and missing some bits, but those were the big ticket items that I was like, okay, so gets powers. Think his dad might have died. Don't know. Something's happened there, because he looks a bit like, towards the end of the trailer, he looks like bad Superman in Superman
3.
So
when he fights himself in the junkyard.
Yeah. He looks a bit like that. It looks like he's had one too many beers. But something's not quite right there. He doesn't look like the clean-shaven type of superhero that you normally see. And that's
what you've described there is, I hope you can see what I meant earlier. Like, it's all the stuff you kind of feel like is comfortable. Like there's he's learning his powers, and his dad is Superman, and so he's got a bit of that sort of teen growth that we recognize. And then there's the team you talked about, there's the Justice League, so we recognize those characters, and there's like a roboty type character, and there's like an explodey character, and it's sort of like you're like, oh, okay, I can hook into all that. I can hook it, I recognize it.
And it almost looks like the adolescence sort of overconfidence type of thing. Like I'm like superhuman. I am invincible. No one can touch me. No one can touch me until someone can touch me.
Yeah. and I think
look at Ben. I don't know what to say, Ben.
Ben doesn't know what to say. Ben doesn't want to spoil anything. I know, but
I don't want to spoil anything.
Some really great villains as well. Some really villains that aren't just carbon copies of. Let me backtrack. Like when you talk about like the Justice League, and when you talk about like him learning his powers, there's definitely parts of it that feel like all the other superheroes that we've seen.
Yeah.
but that's on purpose. That's to hook you in, like you're saying, like, oh, I feel comfortable with this because I recognize these people, and not only do I feel comfortable, it's good. They're written well, but there are some like villains in it that are totally new concepts and therefore really interesting. There's some like the Mauler twins are absolutely fantastic as villains, and they come up quite a lot.
Yeah, and they have again, not to spoil it, but they have a fascinating, really, really clever, ongoing back and forth of each other. Again, we won't go into because it will spoil something. It's not a major thing that it will spoil, but it is. You
can at least say with the Mauler twins, one of them is Mr. Mauler, and one of them is a clone of him. And then from that, some interesting stuff comes out of it. So it's cloning. I wonder what else we can tell JB. Go on, James.
No, I was just going to say that I don't. Do we, in terms of the TV show, do we know much about that? Is it one season and it's going to cover all of the comic books? I mean, what did you say, Ben? Is 140 comics or something, or was that right?
The comics goes to 144 issues.
Right.
The show is 3 seasons, 8 episodes per season, and each episode I think is going to be between 45 minutes and an hour long.
Okay.
There might be some adverts in there. At the moment, I think yes. Now they could wrap up everything they need in 3 seasons. They might need to go on for an extra one. Who knows? But one of the criticisms of the comic book when it started was that the first volume, the first 4 or 5 issues, they're good, but not an awful lot happens. Now, what I mean by that is, and JB, this because you don't read comic books, and that's not a criticism of you, it's a fact, you don't read comic books, do you? You don't read comic books, no. So normally what happens with a new comic book is that the first issue introduces you to who the characters are, tells you what the world is, and then the final page is the hook. And that hook is to get it into you that you're like, oh my God, I've got to come back and find out what happens next. And that's what comics do mostly now. Invincible did that, but the hook wasn't as strong in the first volume or the first issue as it was once it got midway through its second volume, and then midway through its third volume, and then everything changes. Go ahead, Nate.
I've just had a thought.
I'll finish my thought when you say yours, but yeah, go on.
If they're only doing 3 seasons, so James, this isn't a spoiler, but Omni Man, who is Nolan, that's the dad in this, is from a race of beings called the Viltrumites.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they're only going to do the Viltrumite storyline, which means Dinosaurus isn't going to be in it, is he?
Oh, hang on, Nathan. Stop what you're saying. Come on now. No, they're not going to drop that character from this show. No.
That's my favourite.
Stop. If
I bet they drop him. I bet they drop him.
They won't. No, they won't. Get out. If you think they're going to drop a character like that, you have got to be joking.
He's so important for Mark's moral.
Stop.
But
you are going too far. You're going too far.
I bet they do.
This is
I bet
not
they drop
a spoiler.
him. I bet they pin him.
They won't. They won't. Do you know why? Because of some of the things you're alluding to before I stopped you. He is very important. They won't drop him. They won't drop him.
Okay.
I guarantee
or if they do, it'll be 1 episode.
I guarantee you that if you read the comics back to yourself now, you will see that there is an awful lot from the first couple of trades that they could fit into the first 2 episodes, 3 episodes of this show. Seriously, there is an awful lot, because whilst the comic did start not slowly, but it didn't have maybe a hook that was like, oh my God, what's going on here? It does move quickly. It's a page turnover book. You do want to know what happens next to this guy. You're like, oh my God, well, this is good. Well, oh my God, this is great. And also the artwork evolves as the comic grows. It
gets really good later. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it starts. I've got to be careful what I say here because I absolutely love both of the artists involved. There are two main artists. There's a couple who came in and out for a couple of like origin issues here and there, but predominantly it was always written by Robert Kirkman. The first trade was drawn by Corey Walker, and he returned every now and then to give Ryan Otley a break, but Ryan Otley was the main artist for the whole rest of the run. The final issue is split up into two blocks. There's one block written by Ryan Otley, and then there's a second block written by Corey Walker. And
Drawn,
Corey Walker, drawn. Beg your pardon, drawn.
Yeah.
And Ryan Otley's art to start with was almost like an imitation of Corey Walker's, and then he goes his own way. And Ryan Otley's artwork is quite honestly some of the best artwork you will ever see. That guy can draw anything and make it look incredible.
He got the job of drawing Amazing Spider-Man when Invincible ended. So
Yes.
he finished his permanent job on Invincible, needed a new job, and Marvel were like, yeah, we'll have you.
Yeah,
And started
you can draw
and he was and did amazing work on it. Yeah, really, really incredible work. I wonder if they'll make it quite so. The word you've used there, Ben, is hook. So James, like, one of the things that I found about Invincible was, as I've kind of alluded to earlier with the twists and turns, is that it drops things on you, and
Right.
you and they feel like bombshells. You know how like Red Wedding happened in Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about it. I'm not suggesting this is going to get that sort of worldwide discussion, but there are things that happen in it that are bomb drops, and I wonder if they're able to do that. I wonder if they're able to build enough character in the short amount of episodes that they're having.
I
It's
think
quite
they will.
If it's 45 minutes to an hour, that's like quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know.
right.
I mean, obviously you can't. I don't know if you don't go through every part of the comic and you need and try to put it onto the screen and you fill it a little bit, but and then I guess you're going to be I guess they're going to be mixing and matching issues so that other characters come in that can then culminate in a final battle or whatever it might be, something like this. Because I think for like, I don't know, like 45 minutes to an hour is quite a long time, Ben.
One thing I'll say, and again, I'm remembering this from rereading the early issues, is that Kirkman is an absolute genius at laying groundwork for stuff that comes a lot later. And he is setting up multiple plot threads for multiple storylines that come 20, 30, 40, 50 issues later in the book. And I think that will happen in the show. Now, I may have got it wrong about 3 seasons because I'm going on to IMDb now and I'm dropping down from season 1 and it's just showing season 1. So, nay, I could be completely wrong. But I thought it was 3 seasons, 8 episodes per season. But I might be wrong. That might be different. I'll tell you who would know is a couple of colleagues, listen to me, podcasting colleagues of ours, the Invincible podcast. Those guys did a trailer reaction video, which was brilliant, and they also did a live stream of them reacting to the video on YouTube, and it was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And it would be good if at some point when the show finishes we could get one or all of them on this podcast and we can talk about the show together, because that would be great. I'd have to be very careful though, because they delve very deep into spoiler territory and I don't want them to spoil it for you, JB. So
do you know what?
Might have to get you reading the book.
Well, do you know what? I mean, you know me, I can sometimes I'm sometimes open to a spoiler or two, but I'm actually genuinely not going to do this purely because of what you guys are telling me.
And that for me, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily just go into Wikipedia now and just go boink, and I can have everything I wanted within reading of 10 minutes max. I could get the plot, get everything I need to know, and how it all ended. I don't want to do that. I really want to go on this TV journey or comic journey, so that we can.
I want to go on the journey with you. That's exactly it, JB.
So we can just have that conversation, and I can have my different take on what's happening, and go, holy shit, I did not expect that.
The world building, JB, is second to none. He builds this rich tapestry of characters who've all got a story. In some ways, it's a little bit like George R. R. Martin, where you think they're one thing and then you find out a bit more about them and you realize that maybe that's why they are that way because of that. And then maybe they change and you see them in a different light, or maybe they go back to how you originally thought about them. Honestly, it is a wonderful, wonderful story, and it is going to blow your mind, Nathan.
And well, you've got a little bit of a precedent for it already, JB, in that you love The Walking Dead, and you mainlined The Walking Dead. Like you came into it 5 years in or something, maybe.
Oh God,
season 6, maybe you started it.
All I know is that my man JB ate through that TV show
Oh my
in
God,
about
did
a
he?
month.
That made it like the phrase he JB'd it. Like for a TV show, that was it. Like, oh yeah, he JB'd that.
But the difficulty, the good thing about that is, and Ben, you've summed it up really well. Is that hook? You know, when you've got it available on like streaming, like you watch an episode and then it's like that EastEnders moment of it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? Well, I just watched the next 5 minutes of the next episode, and then I can go to bed because I've not got that hook anymore. I've not got that excitement, and actually, that's quite bad. I think
Right.
having that excitement and having that conversation where I could just come in the next day when we were at work and I just have a chat with you and I go, oh God, wasn't that episode great? And how it ended? Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. This could do this, or he could do that, or she might do this, or the dog's going to puke and do that, you know. Whereas I was just like, oh, guess what happened? The dog did puke.
Right. I have a suggestion that's just
Go
come
on.
to me. So let's not disrupt this podcast. Let's do this podcast as we do it. We do it sort of fortnightly or as often as we can, and we have topics. But why don't we do a side podcast, a weekly half hour, where we get JB to talk to us about the Invincible show for 8 weeks?
Oh my gosh.
It won't be 8 weeks. It won't be 8 weeks. The first episode that comes out on the 26th is 3 episodes.
Oh my God. Okay, fine. It'll be 6 weeks then. Whatever. 5 weeks. But why don't we do that? Why don't we do a side conversation where you watch it, JB? I mean, it doesn't obviously have to be week by week because you might, we have lives. What you know, but well, once you've seen it, let's do an episode by episode breakdown of what happened, your thoughts on it, where you think it's going. I think that would be really interesting.
Okay.
Oh, I'm game for that.
Would it be difficult for you guys though to hold back on those like spoilers and just go?
No, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Okay, I'm well up for it.
There is so much about it that I've forgotten. There's so much about it because 144 issues that I read 5 years ago. Ben, when did the last one come out? At least 5 years ago.
Oh, the last book came out, I think, 2018. Maybe.
Oh, maybe not as long as I'm thinking then, but I read a lot of it before then, and then so there are a lot of storylines that I've forgotten. So I'm quite enjoying coming to it. Like I'm not fresh per se, but I'm a little bit fresh. So go on, James.
I was going to say, I mean, from your perspective, in terms of comic books and it potentially and it being on TV, do you think it's going to be some sort of like groundbreaking TV? People who are not nerds are going to start talking about it, or it's going to get that momentum, and then all of a sudden people are going to be rushing out trying to get issues of the comic and stuff like this, or not, Ben?
Let Nathan answer
Ben,
that. Well, okay.
Well, I don't know. It depends how much they put into the advertising for it. At the minute, I feel like it's sort of just been on the nerd circuit. But for anyone with Amazon Prime, it might get pushed hard. I don't know. Ben, have you got thoughts?
Well, for me, I think, and I might be wrong about this because I'm not aware that the Boys TV show that Amazon Prime is doing has reached the same sort of peak levels that, for example, Game of Thrones did. Sorry, excuse me. Someone's just running some water upstairs, and it sounds like the house is flooding.
It got pretty high though. The Boys was quite well received, and a lot of people were talking about it.
So, what my prediction is, if it gets pushed the way we want it to get pushed, And if it gets the viewership that I think it deserves, this TV show could absolutely explode. Now, let me add a little bit more to that. A couple of years back, I think before the Invincible comic book finished, it was announced they were going to make an Invincible movie based on the comic. And I was really hyped. At the same time, I was really quite disappointed because I thought that the story would lend itself better to an ongoing TV show.
Yeah.
And then they announced the TV show, and then they announced that the TV show was going to be animated. And I was super hyped because the comic book shows so much that would be very difficult to achieve on a TV, a live action TV or a live action movie budget, even a big Hollywood $150 million movie budget. There are some stuff that happens in this that, you know, it's going to be difficult to put on the screen.
It's almost like Man of Steel every week, basically.
Right.
Yes.
If you think about like the final battle of Man of Steel that goes on for 45 minutes, the way he goes to China and destroys the world. I can't remember when they're changing the atmosphere, like, and he destroys that, and then he has to come back, and then they fly the ship into the wormhole, and then he fights Zod, and it's like that almost every week. Like, how could you do that live action? That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and given the fact that the creator is on board, like George was on board with Game of Thrones, but Invincible is finished. It's not, oh yeah, they've still got 3 books to write and release. It's completely finished. It's done. It is done. I think there's an awful lot of potential for this show to explode. Bear in mind as well, Game of Thrones didn't blow up until like season 3. People liked Game of Thrones, but then exactly. The Red Wedding happened, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this show is incredible!" And I think you're going to get the same with Invincible. I think it might start off smaller with the people that love the comic book or like anime, or maybe have got like influences in that sort of area, of their nerddom, might get into it. But then I think it will get bigger, and I think that more people will be like, "My God, have you seen this? You've got to watch this show. It's incredible." Yada yada. And the one thing that I think that it outweighs this show over The Boys is that The Boys feels very how do I put this without coming off political? I don't know, written for teenagers maybe, whereas Invincible has got an absolute beating heart, and it is a family drama at the end of the day.
The other thing to say, James, in answer to your question, is Amazon not only have a platform for advertising that almost everyone in the Western world uses.
Yep.
Name me someone that doesn't use Amazon. And on the front of their homepage, they can put whatever banner they want on there. At the minute, it's got Alexa stuff on it. I'm just looking. But if you scroll down,
I'm looking at exactly the same.
If you scroll down 2 inches, there's video recommendations for you. Greenland.
Yeah.
There's a movie. Oh, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe they'll stick it on there. They've got that built in. And the other thing is, the reason why I think like Invincible, Wheel of Time, Game of Thrones, all these shows will do really well.
Yes.
Is because they can afford to pump loads of money into it. So they can afford for it to not be viewed a lot in season 1, but continue to pump money into it in season 2, because people will go back to season 1 later on, because once you've paid for Prime, you're also paying for the free delivery, which means you're likely to buy something else.
Yes.
They don't actually care about the TV shows. They put a lot of money into the TV shows so that you go and buy your groceries and your, books and your computer games and your whatever else it is you buy from Amazon, right? They don't care. Their TV shows, they're pumping money into that so that they can make a shed load of money on shopping.
Yes. Yeah,
and so that's why I think Invincible will be successful, and I don't think it'll be cancelled, air quotes. Things like Outlander. You guys seen Outlander? I've never seen Outlander. I'm aware of it. Do you know why I'm aware of it? Because Amazon Prime sticks it in my face all the time. And I'm sure it's good. And I'm sure it's continuously good because they're throwing money at it. Because they know that if I get onto episode 1 of Outlander and I'm interested, I'll watch all of it. and
Yeah.
I'll keep my Prime subscription to watch all of it. And while I've got
Mhm.
my Prime subscription, I'll buy my books from Amazon. I won't go to eBay or Book Depository or whatever it is that I could go to, right? I'll
Yeah.
stick with Amazon. And that's why Invincible might be successful, because they can just keep piling money into it, because they know once they've got you in for a little bit, they've got you in for a lot.
Mhm.
And I'm all for it. I'm not against it in any way. I'm so for it, because it's so easy to shop on Amazon and they've got everything on there. And also, I get all the TV shows I want. Go on.
And
Ted.
today's episode is sponsored by Amazon Prime.
I wish. Dear God, give me some of that Amazon capital. But you know what I mean? Like
yeah, definitely.
if you pay for Prime, you don't just get the shows. You get all the added stuff on it, and that's what they're counting on.
Just picking up, Ben, you said like did I hear it right that you say this is a family show, or are you saying
It's not a family show. No. Sorry. Let me clarify that. Let me clarify that.
I might have misheard you.
No. It's okay. Probably didn't describe it better. This is not for children, JB. This is not a show for children. However, this is not merely a superhero show. It's a sci-fi show. It's a tragedy. It's a drama. It's a family drama. It's a coming-of-age show. It's
Romance?
a romance. It's a horror. It's an invasion story. It's a fight against the odds story. It's
also a
so
superhero
much.
punchy story.
It's also a superhero punchy story. It's also super beings flying into each other and smashing the living daylights out of each other. However, with consequences. Everything that happens in this show will have consequences. Those consequences might be small, they might be big, they might start small and end up big. But when people die in this comic book, they die. They don't mysteriously come back years later in some way, shape, or form. If you die in the Invincible universe, you die. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's quite difficult to kill people in the Invincible universe, depending on their heritage. Read from that what you will. However, if you die, you die. You don't.
It's using the logic, isn't it? Like I said earlier, like the physics of superheroes, but the logic of the real world.
So, for example, Superman died in Batman versus Superman and then came back in Justice League. If someone dies in Invincible, they're going to die and they're not going to come back. So there are consequences to the actions that these people take. And when these superheroes fight, they don't just punch each other once or twice and then fly away or fly around. And there is blood, there is gore, there is stuff on display that is absolutely 100% not for kids to see ever. So it's a surprising show. It might make you pause or give you pause a little bit. And we all know what Nathan's like when it comes to, what we might perceive as the overuse of violence for no reason. But the story gives it reason. The reason is actions have consequences. It's so good. I can't wait for you to watch it, JB. I can't wait.
I feel awful for not remembering this dude's name, but you know the one with the eye
On the
and
eye
the beard,
and the beard.
we talking fairly strong one. Well, I don't want to spoil.
The eye and the beard. Does he have one eye?
Yes.
Alan.
No. 2 eyes, but one's. He looks a bit like Cable. That dude.
In Invincible?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Have they cast him yet? I don't think they have. They've cast Battle Beast.
Yes, they've cast Battle Beast. Do you know who's playing Battle Beast?
It's Worf, isn't it?
It's Worf. It's Michael Dorn. Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
I'm lost.
Who are you talking about, Nathan? With one eye.
I can't remember his name, but
should I look him up?
No.
Someone's screaming at me right now, going, Ben, it's such and such.
The dude that's I don't want to spoil anything. That's
Well, do you want me to go off? I'll come off the podcast because I never listened to our podcast.
No, wait. The one that's fairly violent and causes some quite horrific things to happen.
Oh, I know who you mean. He's a Viltrumite, but he's
Yeah,
not.
Viltrumite. Sorry,
not,
I didn't say that. A Viltrumite. Absolutely. Sorry, I meant to say he's a Viltrumite. Yes. Has he been cast? Or will
No,
they
I don't
skip
think
him
he'll
out?
show up.
Reckon they'll skip him out and
No.
just
No.
But what if they combine characters so that they have like Thrag and other people?
No. Who
No?
you're talking about is not that person. That's
No,
somewhere.
I know it's not. I know it's
Yeah,
not.
okay.
But I'm saying, will they combine them to be one villain?
I don't know. I've also given away a spoiler here a little bit, which I'm going to have to edit out.
Which what?
Nothing. Don't worry. I'm not saying it again.
Okay.
I'm not saying it again.
Okay. Anyway, I think that's probably a good place to call it a day, unless you've got any other questions, JB.
I haven't at all. I think from what we've been talking about and what we said, I really can't wait. So it's exciting time. Something to look forward to towards the end of, was it March 26th that it comes out?
March 26th, 3 episodes.
Boom. There's 3 hours. There's 3 hours of my life that my wife's not going to see me. I tell you that for nothing.
I think it might actually come out the same night that Falcon and the Winter Soldier might come out.
Hang on, isn't that also the same day as Justice League Snyder Cut?
I think that might come out the week before now.
Okay. Because I was going to take half a day for that, but if I need to watch a 4-hour movie, 3 hours of Invincible, and the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I might need a week off.
Well,
I
better
don't
just sit
know.
on the sofa with my pants for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you never. No, oh no, we won't be out of lockdown then, would we?
No, we won't. No.
not
We've
probably.
got we got a couple of months yet before that.
Okay,
happens.
fine. It's fine.
But like you, Ben, I'm now really thinking about having a reread. I am thinking
Oh,
about,
you've got to do it.
but I feel like I could smash through it in the, like, some of it I could probably go, oh yeah, I know this, and flick through quite quickly.
Oh, you won't flick through it. You'll read it, but it won't take you long to get through it. I've done 2 volumes already. I'm up to like issue 26 on volume 3.
Pretty sure mine are all digital, so actually as well I could just sit on the laptop with yeah. Cool, right, so that's the end of the show, I think. Ben, where can people get in touch with us to let us know what they think of Invincible / all the broken news and nerd scene that we've talked about and how wrong we are?
Thank you, Nathan, for teeing that up. Sorry, I just forgot where I was for a second. They can
You're
get in
on the
touch with us.
Nerd Chatting podcast.
Yeah. I told you I was tired. They can get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Nerds Chatting, all one word, Nerds Chatting. You'll find us. You can send Nathan an email, which is nerdschatting@outlook.com. This podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, other podcasts, YouTube. Just search for Nerds Chatting on your podcast app. You should find us. Our hosting platform is nerdschatting.podbean.com. You can find us over there. Drop us a 5-star review or any kind of review. 1 star if you like. I don't care. It's fine. And you can do that on your phone in your podcast app. That'll be fun. That'd be really kind of you. Tell a friend about us. That'll be great. And
I was going to say, tell a friend, right? What can we do to convince people to tell a friend? Everyone that tells a friend gives a fairy their wings. No, that doesn't count. If you tell a friend, we'll give them something in a pyramid scheme style way that's totally illegal. We'll name if you tell a friend, tell us the friend that you said, and we'll name drop them and we'll make up something about them, something horrific on the next podcast.
Oh, okay.
Tag us in a tweet or CC us in the email that you send to them recommending us.
Yeah.
We'll read you out or something like that.
We'll rip the threads on the podcast. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do that. Why not? Why not? Yeah, that's fun. Okay. Good stuff.
Good. Right. Well, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time with probably the WandaVision review, I would think, by then.
I think we're getting to that point, aren't we? Yeah, we're getting close. I think.
Yeah, and then soon after that, it'll be Falcon and Winter Soldier. So that'd be interesting times to live in. But thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.